In the high basin of the Sierra Nevada lived a woman named Hana. Hana was a builder of walls. She didn't just build them out of wood and stone. She built them out of anxiety. To Hana, the world was a place of permanent scarcity. She believed that life was a zero-sum game, that to be safe, one had to possess, to hoard, and to protect. Her house was a fortress of just-in-case. She kept tools she never used, jars of grain she would never eat, and memories of old hurts that she wore like armor. She thought that by surrounding herself with things, she was building a shield against the unpredictable, but she failed to see the truth. The more you own, the more the things own you. Her life was a heavy backpack she refused to take off, even when her knees began to buckle. Hana spent her mornings checking the locks and her evenings counting her supplies. She was so busy guarding her life that she forgot to live it. She was like a person who stays in the cellar to avoid the wind, never realizing that the cellar is also a grave. Then came the great storm. It wasn't a typical seasonal rain, it was a reckoning. The sky turned the color of a bruised plum, and the wind began to howl a song of destruction. Hana went into a frenzy. She dragged her heaviest chests to the center of the room. She hammered boards over the windows until not a single ray of light could enter. She was trying to fight the atmosphere itself. She thought that if she just held on tight enough, if she made her grip strong enough, she could outlast the chaos. But the wind grew stronger than her wood. The rain found the cracks in her ceiling. As the storm intensified, Hana realized with a cold terror that her treasures were now her anchors. If the house collapsed, she would be buried by the very things she had spent years protecting. She was trapped in a prison of her own making, clutching a bag of silver while the ship was sinking. In the height of the gale, a window shutter tore away. Hana looked out into the gray blur of the valley, her eyes wide with fear. And that was when she saw it. On the highest, most exposed spire of granite sat a golden eagle. It was an impossible sight. While every other creature had fled to the burrows and the thickets, the eagle sat alone on the edge of the abyss. It didn't fight the wind. It didn't hide its head. It perched with an unsettling stillness, its golden eyes fixed on the horizon, as if the storm were merely a backdrop to its own majesty. Hana watched, mesmerized. She saw the wind rip at the eagle's feathers, but the bird didn't flinch. It wasn't trying to survive the storm. It was part of the storm. Why doesn't it fly away? Hana whispered to the empty, howling room. Why does it stay in the open? In that moment, the eagle looked toward her. In those predatory, ancient eyes, Hana didn't see fear. She saw a terrifying form of freedom. The eagle knew something Hana didn't, that the wind is only a threat to those who try to stay heavy. To those who know how to be light, the wind is an invitation. This is the moment of the great unburdening. Hana looked at her hands. They were raw and bleeding from clutching her possessions. She looked at her chests of safety. Suddenly, they looked like garbage. They looked like chains. She walked to the door. Her mind screamed at her to stay inside, to keep the lock turned. But the eagle's image was burned into her mind. She reached for the latch, and, with a scream that was drowned out by the thunder, she threw the door open. The wind surged in like a physical blow. It tore the maps from her walls. It knocked over her jars. It stripped away the false comfort of her sanctuary. Hana stood in the center of the storm, and she did the one thing she had never dared to do. She let go. She dropped her heavy bag. She opened her arms. She stopped trying to be a fortress and started being a leaf. At the peak of the storm's fury, the eagle did the unthinkable. It didn't retreat. It pushed off from the granite spire, and dived straight into the dark heart of the gale. Hana watched as the bird was nearly tossed against the rocks. But then, the eagle adjusted its wings by a fraction of an inch. It caught a thermal, a hidden pillar of rising air within the chaos. With one powerful stroke, it wasn't fighting the wind anymore. It was using the wind to rise. It spiraled upward, higher and higher, until it was a golden speck against the charcoal clouds. It had found the updraft of surrender. Hana felt a strange lightness in her own chest. The storm was still raging, but her fear had vanished. She realized that we spend our lives building walls because we think we are the house. We aren't the house. We are the inhabitant. The house can break, the roof can fly away, but the spirit, if it knows how to be light, can never be crushed. When the sun rose the next morning, the valley was unrecognizable. The trees were broken, and the paths were gone. Hana's house was a wreck, but as she stepped out onto the mud-slicked earth, she felt a joy so sharp it was almost painful. She looked up. The eagle was back on its perch, preening its wings. Hana understood now. Safety is a myth. Freedom is the only reality. To empty your cup is to realize that you are not what you own. To trust the wild is to realize that the wind that threatens to destroy you is the same wind that can carry you to the stars. You have spent so long carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. You have spent so long trying to protect a version of yourself that was never real. Look at the eagle. Look at the storm. The cage is open. The wind is calling. Will you stay in the cellar, or will you learn to fly? Stop hoarding the past. Touch the present. Start breathing the wild. The valley is deep, but your spirit is deeper. I hope this video brings a moment of calm to your day. Supporting with a like and subscribe helps this message reach those who need it most. I'd love to read your thoughts in the comments below. Wishing you a life filled with health, happiness, and the courage to be yourself. See you in the next story.